Commissioner Roger Goodell done enough with league discipline?
I don't think so, from the standpoint that Roger Goodell, I think, went at it the wrong way, in that he was ready to hand down and be the new sheriff in town. I'm going to hand out penalties for people who weren't even convicted of any crimes. He went at it the wrong way, thinking he's going to stem the tide. When you look at this number of 18, that's still 3 times more than the NBA and Major League Baseball offseason arrests combined. So it hasn't had the effect that he thought it would have, because you have people who have issues, and there are going to be people going to get arrested, and there's so many more football players on a team when you do the pure numbers. So I think Roger Goodell's tact, or attacking this issue, was not the right way to go after people who haven't been convicted of anything, as that being the reason that these things were going to stop and people were going to respect the shield.
So you're saying that he was so heavy-handed that he increased the number of people getting in trouble?
I didn't say that. No, I didn't say he increased the number. Well, all I'm saying is he didn't have the effect he thought he was going to have when he put on the big black hat and he was going to be the white hat and be the big sheriff in town.
Rob Parker and I go back a long ways. Mentor, friend, big brother, the whole bit. He knows I love him. He knows I mostly disagree with him. And this is one of those situations. Roger Goodell, the arrests have dipped 20% since Roger Goodell has taken over as commissioner of the NFL. 20%. I understand there were 18 arrests since the Super Bowl. I understand there were 32 arrests since the start of the 2011 season. There was 64 arrests since the start of 2011. I have all of those numbers. But the overall number has dipped 20% since he's taken over as commissioner of the National Football League. Now let's take it a step further here. We need to pay attention. We truly, truly do, to the society that we live in and what is going on and why Roger Goodell felt the need to begin with to take these measures. You have a situation where guys are just acting up all over the place. Remember Chris Henry, suspended 8 games in 2007 for being arrested 5 times in 3 states. Adam Jones suspended for the entire 2007 season due to felony charges. You have to say, I'm sorry, Pac-Man Jones, I apologize, Pac-Man Jones. You have to make sure that you're sending a message that resonates with the public at large, that says to them, there is law and order, and there are certain things that we will not tolerate. Not to mention the fact, Rob, and you and I have talked about this, and we've debated this for years, because nobody is more supportive than the quote-unquote black athlete than you, even though it's more than just black folks getting arrested. The point that needs to be made here is, when you have that image to protect, you have to send a message that is resounding, that resonates, because it's about who's patronizing your product.
Yeah, but Steve,
if you have people, hold on, wait a minute. If you have people out there and they're watching guys getting arrested left and right, and they've supported you to the point where you become a multi-billion-dollar industry, the first order of business, you can do all of those things, those modifications, but the first order of business is to send a message that somebody at the top sees exactly what the American public is seeing. We don't like it, and you are responsible for the image that is projected to the masses.
Well, wait a minute. But see, I hear this all the time about the public, unless you're talking about the white base of the NFL fans. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about everybody.
No, I'm just asking you, compared to the number of black players, the high number of black players as far as comparison, okay? So when things go awry, or hockey players get arrested, okay, in a sport with very few black players, I don't hear that as an indictment of all white people to say.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, or if a white hockey player swings a stick and hits somebody over. No, I'm trying to give you that we're trying to paint that black guys have to act differently because white people won't buy tickets.
Thank you for bringing that up.
That's where we're going.
Here's where I'm going.
He's talking about this whole idea you're going to clean up the game.
You know better. Here's where I'm going. Where I'm going is that we all know, as black folks, we sit back here and we say privately, sometimes publicly, we know what system we live in. We know how things are projected. We don't think it's fair. We don't think it's right. But what's fair and is right has nothing to do with reality. If the reality is that you conduct yourself this way, and it's going to be elevated to the point of astronomical proportions. We can point out that it's unfair. We can sit there and say, okay, if you're the black guy, you're being judged differently than the white guy is, but it doesn't change the reality that you are being judged accordingly. And that's what we have to react to. We have no choice because it is what it is. It ain't fair, but it's reality, and you cannot be ignored.
Okay, so wait, I got to get Rob straight here. Are you saying that Goodell was coming down too hard on the black football players?
Well, it's not the black football players, Skip. It's that the league is 72% black.
I agree.
So if you went back to 1950s baseball,
okay,
right? What would you have? You'd have white players, right? So the guys who were getting drunk and having fights in the bars, they would be white, right?
Yep.
Okay, so it's just a matter. It's not Goodell picking out black people. It's just that the league is made up of black people.
I'm not finished with you, but go ahead, Skip.
Okay. I have applauded from the start Goodell being the new sheriff and handing down much harsher punishment than his predecessor Tagliabue did. We can do the numbers all day long. We can stat it to death, but your 20% number is correct. But what also is glaring is 18 arrests since the Super Bowl. So it dilutes that number a little bit. But here's how I always frame the NFL, and I've been covering it a lot longer than you guys have. It is still our modern-day gladiator sport. This is not a black thing. This isn't a white thing. This is a pro football thing. There is a gladiator mentality that is often required to play a very violent game. And in ancient Rome, they locked up the gladiators during the week, and they gave them their wine, women, and song, but when it was time for Sunday, they let them loose in the Coliseum, and they might die on that Sunday, but they took care of them during the week, but they kept them behind bars. And I'm going to the ancient Rome because sometimes we border on getting to ancient Rome levels here. The point is that we're always going to have NFL players, black, white, green, brown, whatever they are, run afoul of the law. It's in the DNA required to play the violent game.